I came here in 1991. I was interviewed, I was a teacher. I've been a teacher at Hollydale School for about 18 years and wanted to escape. And when I came here, I was really interested in building up the history and geography because none of that was done. I took over in 91 and for 1 year was the teacher. And here at that time was a community worker and Ron was the curator and there was a director. A long and involved story, but by the end of that year, there was just me. There was nothing here. And so I had the choice of going back into teaching or giving it a whirl. So 20 years down the line, this is my world. I started with the education for kids, and so I built up the science. So we didn't just do pond dipping, we had mini beasts and we did lots of nature stuff and trails and loads of fun things, but learning so that the kids would learn through what they did. And I specifically made sure that none of the things that they could do in school, they would do here. Because to my mind, as a teacher, if the teachers could do it at school, then I wanted to do something different, but things they still needed to do. If you have fun when you're learning, you remember it. If you're bored to death when you're learning, you don't remember it. I know that kids do about the home, so I wanted washing, I wanted cooking, I wanted cleaning. We used to go to the Greenwich auction on a Saturday morning, it was some ungodly time in the morning, and buy lots of stuff from there. So it was good fun. But the majority of it was second-hand shops, eBay in the very early days of eBay, which was brilliant because it was cheap and nobody else wanted it. Every holiday I ever took sort of revolved around, oh look, there's a boot sale. So a lot of this stuff comes from boot fairs. Charity shops, brilliant for charity shops. I mean, each thing here probably has a story. If you want something desperately enough, you do it, don't you? And it was a case of desperation. I wanted things, and I used to lug them about. Well, I got a car, obviously, but I'd lug them out of the car into here, just move them about. But the hairdryer came from Cornwall, and it came back on top of the car because it was so big and heavy. So did the big wooden Hoover thing. I mean, it was ridiculous, really. The amount of stuff, you know, no clothes, nothing holiday-wise, just junk that went back in the car and came home and weighed a ton. And it just got stupid. But good fun. I mean, it's things you remember like that. And so I began to discover that there were uses for some of the artefacts that we were collecting other than for children. People with dementia-related illness, it was an absolute amazing stimulus. So they would begin to talk, whereas they might have actually been silent for weeks. They would suddenly react to things. and it is purposely set up like this. A lot of people came and said, why don't you put it in separate rooms? But if you go to a lot of museums, it is in rooms. But the reason it's like this is because of the children. And because if you have all the clocks together and all the typewriters together and all the sewing machines together, they can see the progression. So you can teach children, they can see the electric one. You say, well, how does that work? And they can see the lead and the plug. And so they will say, well, it's electric. And then you say, well, how does that one work then? And they go, don't know, because there's no electricity. So you show them how to treadle it, or, you know, you turn a handle and they can see it. I mean, quite a few kids these days don't know what a record is. So they look at my record collection up there on the wall and go, we don't know what's that? And you say, well, it's music. And they really genuinely have never used it, seen it. I mean, there's vinyl in record shops today, but kids rarely see that. So they're using iPods and things. They won't know that. And I mean, the greatest pull in here is the jukebox. Because with the jukebox, you're going right back to the 50s. So they're seeing something they wouldn't see. And a lot of their parents have never seen either. The jukebox there is all singing, all dancing, all working. They said, we're not going to fund you as a museum anymore, so you've got to get rid of all this. And the only reason they can do it is because they can say the government cuts. There is no way around it, so their thing is about the government cuts. So we move on 20 years from building it up and building it up and building it up into something that is really unique. And from that, with the funding dried up, it means that it just has to close because there is no funding to provide the core costs, which includes me. So there is no way we can continue, so it has to close. It's not viable, it's not possible. Even, you know, some people have said to me about volunteers, and it just wouldn't work, because to have schools in, you need someone who can do programs and sessions and is CRB checked and knows everything is safe. I mean, I know every inch of this building. So, I mean, if the money was there and I didn't have to go, that would be absolute wonderful. That would be the ideal. Knowing that we really, really have to close and there is no option at all, and to find like a legacy, this is the best legacy. You know, not that I would ever want, you know, I've built it up, but not that I'd ever want it to go, but knowing that this is the final, you know, I can't do anything else, then this, going to care homes, is absolutely wonderful. Yeah. I've got, in fact, several homes already that are saying, yes, we'd like a box. So I will make up boxes of all the different things, not the same obviously, but they have different items in the box that they can then use with older people with dementia. That is where this stuff is going, you know, to make that quality of life better. And I can't think, oh, my voice is going, I can't think of anywhere better for that to go, apart from schools maybe. But, you know, I'm trying to think positively. The fact that I know in the last 20 years, we've touched so many lives that it's worth it for that.